Welcome back to War Thunder Weekly News. This week we had the dev server happen again, the second time. I'm hoping the next patch hits Tuesday. Hit that subscribe button if you agree. Let's get into the juicy details. One of the most surprising and awesome additions is the protection analysis system, which allows you to check if a certain shell will pen a certain tank on a certain spot by simply moving your cursor over to where that spot is. This is going to simplify so many things. No longer are you going to have to try to angle your tank just right and kind of guess like that might have gone through. Now you know exactly whether that will go through or not. And it's also going to be a great way to learn when angling your tank what shells can and can't kill you, so you know when to get out. Not too much in the tanks, that's alright. There was a nice dev blog talking about the hefty update to aircraft audio, as it is just more than just an update to the sound effects of the guns. Now it adjusts to what direction your camera is facing and whether you're in the cockpit view or not. It's some neat stuff. On the dev server, we got to see a glimpse of what 1.79 will probably look like. And oh man, was there a lot of changes. Some of the major things that really spoke out to me was the Object 906 is now rank 6 at 8.0. and the BMP is now rank 5 at 7.3. People have been saying this should happen a while ago, though I think they should have kept them both at rank 6, because people who bought a talisman on the BMP to grind other vehicles are gonna get kind of screwed. Hesh got a minor update. Interesting how it gets improved when they add a premium tank that only uses Hesh. Strange how that works. I guess it's just a coincidence. Don't bother looking too much into it. This update doesn't seem to be too drastic, and I doubt it's gonna go back to the heyday of only Hesh loadouts. P-47s no longer have an air spawn. I'm not sure if this is going to save rank 3 air realistic, but it's a start. Blow up panels got their update. Now you can't put those flames out with extinguishers. You have to wait for it to burn out on its own, and it has a chance of lighting your tank on fire. The surface resistance of all wheeled vehicles has been reduced. Maybe now they'll actually be able to get up hills. The Type 74 and the Type 87 had their engine power heavily reduced to both are now at 720, which really is going to make grinding the Type 90 a pain. What I think is the biggest change, because of how many players it's going to affect, is a bunch of new tanks got the Ready Rack mechanic in, and of these tanks are the Tiger 2s, which means that in the back of the turret, the Tiger 2 will always have ammunition. Also along it was the STA Type 61, the M41, the RU-251, Centurion Mark III, the Strav 81, the Carnarvon, the FV-4202, FV-4004, M18 Super Hellcat, M26, M26E1, M36, M41, again, M46, M46 Tiger, M26E1, T34-100, 3485, T44-100, T44, and that's all of them. When it was in top tier, it was a bit more understandable, as if you were penned, you were basically one shot a lot of the time. But down here in the lower tiers, having ammo in your turret is a death sentence, especially for the Tigers. It's going to be real interesting. Before the dev server was actually out, there was a data mine of some information that didn't appear on the patch notes. One of which actually did show up in the dev server itself, is the XM803, the weaker MBT-70, is now 8.7. A lot of other tanks also got BR decreases, but it is now ahead of the MBT-70 in the folder that they're in. Therefore, if you don't have the XM803, you can't get the Abrams. This is exactly what I thought they were going to do. It's going to be a roadblock to stop people from getting the Abrams. And that's the only reason why they added it. A bunch of planes got a new flight model, including the Kika, and now it is a really good plane. Like, it's not going to stay at 6.7 very long. Personally, I'm not so sure if it should be at 7.0, because at max it only has 100 rounds of 30mm ammunition. A bunch of unit class icons were added to the game files. While they covered the unit classes that we already have in game, they also had one for battle cruisers, battleships, and submarines. What's interesting about these is there isn't one for aircraft carriers, and it's not necessarily that these unit icons guarantee these ships will be playable, just that they'll show up. But they also have one for cruisers separate from light cruisers. And I do know Germany had some heavy cruisers that were actually heavier than some battleships they had. the Duchessland class. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out, because there was in fact screenshots of the naval tech trees were leaked out. Unfortunately, they were all deleted, and I was only able to get my hands on the US one, but it's much different than what you were expecting, as it seems that you progress sideways, but ranks are still going downward. It looks very confusing from this standpoint, and I'm hoping it makes much more sense when it actually is being put to use. But it also seems that the highest battle rating as of now is 5.0 at the Omaha class, which is a cruiser. That's 4 battle ratings away from 9.0, which seems to be the average top that Gaijin wants to aim for. And there's a lot that can be packed into there, especially if you consider that the Sherman Jumbo is just under 5.0. That's quite a gap between that and the Abrams. In other words of dev server Datamine, cannons have been buffed. I wouldn't say heavily. I think 50 cals are still better, but they don't suck. And I'm hoping that leads to less sparking. I do have to say, it's quite odd that cannons get buffed in the same patch that a high-ranking premium plane is armed only with 30mm cannons. I'm not saying anything that I'm implying anything. I'm just pointing out, in the same patch cannons were buffed, the 109Z was added, which only has 108 30mm cannons. They're obviously unrelated. There's no connection here at all. It just happens to be that cannons were buffed in the same patch that a premium plane only armed with cannons was added. It's similar to how Hesh was buffed in the same patch in which a $50 premium tank that only uses Hesh was added. I see these are completely unrelated, and they have nothing to do with each other. It just happens to be this way. I just want to make that clear. In the other words of naval farces, the store team dude on the naval side of the forums mentioned that the next tree is going to be the USSR, which you could probably guess as to the only other premium boat you could buy currently is for the USSR. And he also mentioned that no more surprises, everything that you saw on the dev server is what you're going to see when it goes live. In terms of developments, the XM1C and XM1G currently are only $50, but when the patch goes live, they will be $60. Gaijin seems to do things like this when they realize they kind of screwed up. They did the same with bushes. When they had the bushes go out, I don't remember how much it were, 500 gold for a 6-pack. People bought them up because you could hide your weak spots with them, so they were a bit of a game-altering, viable thing. This I find similar, as this is a 9.0 premium, bring 5, being priced at the same price point as non-9.0 premiums. So now, yes, it's the first $60 premium, which, you know, you could buy a whole nother game and be disappointed by that for the same cost it would cost you for this individual tank when the patch goes live. Fallout 76 is going to be a huge disappointment, so you might as well spend that money on a tank. There was a dev blog for the Bf 109 and how it's going to completely destroy ground targets with all of its crazy ammunition. 4 of those fat German rockets and a 37mm cannon on the same loadout. Also, the existing 110 got a model update and is now unfortunately changed to a C7 as opposed to the Battle of Britain C4. Hopefully we see a legit C4 re-entered into the game. The T62M1 got a dev blog and no one really cared because it doesn't look too interesting. Like, it's a Soviet tank, it has some pretty tough cheek armor, but as I said last time on talking about the dev server, the weak spot is just so prevalent. You shoot right next to the gun breach and, like, you destroy the gun breach, and then you move in to get closer, or maybe you just kill the gunner right there. And against the intense 500 plus penetrating shells of the Type 90 or AMX 40, this thing doesn't seem too striking. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you guys, Type 90 has 540mm of penetration and is at 9.7, and the AMX 40 has 550mm of penetration. It's at 9.0, although it, from looking at the dev server, this may change in the live server, only has spaced armor. There was no composite. So it's basically a glass cannon, although it seems most top tier tanks are glass cannons in comparison to the other top tier tanks. Anyways, thanks for watching. I have a Discord, so if you want a more constant update to the news, or if you want to sit and chat with me and other like-minded people, come and join. There should be a link in the description. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you not like the video, don't hit the like button. If you want to see more, subscribe. I make these news videos every Sunday, and I make random videos throughout the week. So if you want to be notified whenever I upload anything, hit that bell icon. You should get a notification whenever I do it so. Thanks for watching and have a great day.